Minecraft 1.19 is adding beautiful mangrove trees, but even better are the blocks you can craft from mangrove wood. Let's take a look at this amazing new wood type, the first added to the overworld since 2013. I'm not going to underplay this, I'm incredibly excited about the new mangrove wood block. It's so nice to finally have a new overworld wood type in the game. Yes, we did get crimson and warped wood in Minecraft 1.16, but they weren't technically wood, although they did function like that. And this wood type has the full variety of blocks. It's nice too because the color of this is not really what you'd expect. It's this really awesome reddish maroon color. I really like it. With these orange highlights, this is certainly a color of wood I would not have expected to be added into Minecraft. In fact, the last type of wood added to Minecraft was the acacia and dark oak in 1.7.2 all the way back in October of 2013, and so having this new wood type is certainly significant. Now to get this, you need a propagule. A mangrove propagule that is, although there is no other type of propagule in the game right now. Currently, propagules don't really work. You can plant them down, you can bone meal them, but they just grow oak trees. However, the way they're supposed to work is that they would grow a mangrove tree. They're like a mangrove sapling. You plant them underwater, unlike every other type of sapling. Although you can currently plant them above the ground, I'm guessing that will change soon. Their texture is quite odd looking too. Certainly it does not fit in with any other types of wood in the game. I guess those are leaves on the top of the small propagule there. Now here is a mangrove tree. Unfortunately, mangrove trees do not yet generate in Minecraft 1.19, however all the blocks for them do, and all the mechanics for them do. So I just made this tree based on what we saw on Minecraft Live, and I think it's fairly accurate. We have here a mangrove log trunk of the tree, with muddy mangrove roots and mangrove roots at the bottom. Mangrove roots can be waterlogged, you can see there, and the muddy mangrove roots kind of are there when they mix with the mud. We also have vines on it, and we have these propagules on the tree. The mangrove root texture is quite unique. As you can see, we have this outside see-through section, but if we really look inside, there's sort of this X shape of mangrove texture on the inside as well, which really gives it more depth when we're looking inside of there, truly making this look like a large bundle of roots. There's also, of course, mangrove leaves. They almost have a square look to them. Now they're quite grey in the swamp biome, but in most other biomes, sort of like this biome over here, they would be a brilliant green, as their colors do change very much with the biome that they're in. I really like this texture here with those kind of square looking leaves. I almost feel like this might be a good choice of block to make a palm tree out of. When you're kind of making different parts of the palm tree, that could look rather decoratively good just because the texture is so unique there. And the big thing about these leaves is that they grow the propagules. However, the leaves themselves do not drop any propagules. So unlike every other tree in the game, except for the nether trees, which aren't technically trees, breaking this leaf doesn't grant you saplings, but these leaves are still used in the reproduction process of this tree. So if we take our bone meal here and right click on the bottom of a tree leaf, in fact I'll just break it and bone meal it right here. If we bone meal once on the bottom of this leaf, you'll see this little bit of a bud arrives. If we right click on the bud once, it grows a little bit. Right click another time, grows more. Right click another time, grows more. Right click one more time, it grows to its full size. This is a propagule. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages of that. And once it's at its full stage, if you break this, and of course I'll have to do this in survival to show, it will drop a singular propagule, and that is basically our mangrove sapling, that although it looks a bit odd and can be planted in water, will function very similarly to a standard sapling will in the game. Also, I have this propagule in an item frame here, as if you plant it down, it certainly will grow. It'll just turn into an oak tree, no matter whether it's underwater or not. And that's as the developers have said, that they will add in the mangrove tree in a later snapshot. Now just looking at this mangrove log with its very unique outside and inside texture, you're probably already intrigued at what the variants of this wood type are, and I'll show you those right now. They're really nice and I'm incredibly impressed by them, as I think Mojang did a great job. You can see here we have the standard log here. We then have the wood block, which is like the bark block. You kind of make these by getting 4 of these, and then right here in your inventory or in your crafting grid, 4 of these gives you 3, but you can do that with every single wood type. There's also the stripped variety, made by right-clicking on the log with a axe. Same with this, it's the stripped wood variety here, so you can right-click on here and get stripped all around. Next we have the planks. It's just such an interesting texture. Every time I look at it, I'm trying to think, is that orange, is that red, is that maroon? I'm not sure, it's kind of a mix of all three, but I really like it, as it's a color that's certainly not anywhere else in the game. We also have a slab of this, we have a stair of this, we have a fence gate, a door, a trapdoor, a sign, a button, a pressure plate, and a boat. Now all these other textures are what you'd think, but doors and trapdoors are unique per variety, and Mojang did not disappoint with these textures. I love sort of the oriental look of these doors and these trapdoors. This trapdoor with this circle in the middle of it is so useful because having a trapdoor that has that circular shape is something that Minecraft's really needed. In fact, it's probably one of the only blocks in the game that actually has a bit of a circular texture on it. This door itself seems like a very fancy door, something you might see on like an Asian palace, something like that. I really like the look of it as well. You can see there's a little handle on there, kind of 3 pointy bumps on it, and these circular carvings around it, and it looks the same on the other side as well. Now you craft the rest of these blocks as you would normally. Also, unlike the nether woods, because this is a true wood, this certainly does burn. It also has the boat type, as the nether woods don't have their own boat types. The mangrove wood certainly does, and it looks even redder on this boat texture than it would over here. Even just looking at this pressure plate texture, then looking here, the bottom of this boat has an even stronger and beautifully red texture to it. It's just such an interesting pinkish, orangish, reddish maroon mix. So you can see right here, I sort of made like an Asian style building right here out of these blocks, as I just think these doors and these windows remind me of that. I just love the circular texture, and so I use this to make a circular shape here, here, and here. I had these nice entrance doors here with the oxidized copper roof, as I think the green and the red match with each other, and these right here are mangrove logs. You might have noticed they have a bit of a softer texture than, let's say, the traditional log does. Also, this log was originally created by the new texture artist, not by the old textures being converted, so we can maybe see here a little bit of the new texture's influences, as there's nothing from this bark texture that was ported over from the old developer textures. Going inside the building here, we can see I kind of styled the other side as well. We have a whole bunch of doors over here, as I think that definitely gives it a grand look. And you'll notice these trapdoors, when they're inset like that, do tend to be a little bit darker. And of course that's when the trapdoor is basically placed from the inside like this and flapped like that. From this one side, it does have a bit of a darker texture. If we open it up a bit, it does become a bit lighter, but overall that's certainly something to look out for. If you want a dark look, great, but if you don't, be aware that if it's facing in like that, it certainly will have that darker texture. We can even see through these circles right to the other side. I think that's so cool. I mean, even just zooming in with our FOV here, we can have like this teeny little porthole view right through there. It'd be so cool to maybe make a boat out of these and have this sort of be like the portholes on the side of the boat with a beautiful red boat with some nice masts on it. Also, the stripped log facing forward like that has this nice red texture as well, blends into the logs very nice, and it complements that circular look. And even just with these mangrove logs facing upwards like this, it almost has a bit of a fruit-like look to it. I'm not sure why, but it just reminds me of some sort of a fruit. I like it quite a bit. And provided you can get yourself a good supply of the mangrove wood from these new trees that will generate, then this should be a really good and easy building block to use. And there's something I need to explain. There's actually going to be two different types of swamp biomes in Minecraft 1.19. There's going to be the swamp biome, and there's going to be the mangrove swamp biome. The standard swamp biome, as far as we know, will probably still have the old swamp trees, will have clay on the bottom of it, and may have the occasional mangrove tree, although that is not confirmed. Then the mangrove swamp biome will be filled up with just these trees kind of climbing and growing all over each other in almost like a true jungle look. You know, the actual jungle biome in Minecraft doesn't really look like a real jungle, whereas a very overgrown mangrove swamp could be the closest we get to a really jungle looking biome in the game. And so there'll be two different biomes just like that. Well, I hope you're as inspired by the mangrove wood as I am. I think this block will really add a lot to the game, and I'm excited to see the kind of builds that people add to it. I feel like when the developers started deciding what they wanted to add to Minecraft 1.19, they must have looked at all the different colors of blocks that are in the game, and then they thought what colors are not currently in the game that we could add blocks for. At least I think so, as the color of the stripped logs, also the mud bricks, and a lot of the other new blocks added into the game like the frog lights are all different colors, as you really do not have any other block in the game that looks like them. Even comparing the crimson log to this, you can see you'd think it would look somewhat similar, but it doesn't really. There are a couple similarities, but overall I would say these are two very separate blocks. Let's take a look at this. Compared to this, you can see it looks okay, but there's a lot of differences between those, certainly not the same. It's even more evident on the stripped variety, putting both of those down. It's funny because I always thought of the crimson block as looking very red, very scary, but something I find interesting is next to the mangrove log here, this almost looks like a cotton candy-ish or just sort of a fake looking plasticky block, whereas this looks like a very regal, very red, beautiful block that is certainly something that you could see naturally. So it's interesting how that comparison changes that. Also, this outer bark texture is quite unique, and with all these different plank variants, I think we're going to see a lot of use from this block in the Minecraft building community. And that's my look at the mangrove wood wood in Minecraft. I just love this new oriental looking wood. It can definitely be used in a lot of different applications, and I think overall I'm very excited to see what the Minecraft community will come up with Minecraft's newest wood type. It is completely insane to think that Minecraft is so old that the last time that a wood type was added to the overworld was literally 9 years ago. Anyway, I'll see you later.